So it feels like constantly more and more information is getting out there from this massive Insomniac leak. And a lot of it is giving us a peek behind the curtain for business dealings and plannings behind the scenes with Sony. And there's some very, very interesting stuff coming out around budgets, launching these games, licensing deals, and even the idea of their services like PlayStation Plus, and maybe some plans they have in the future to not necessarily just rely on their PlayStation 5 console, which sounds weird for Sony, who has been very much hardware first this entire way, but based on some of the slides getting out there, there's certainly been some discussions, we'll say, internally leading up to the launch of PlayStation Plus to maybe change things up completely with this new strategy. I wanted to go over that here with you today. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here to the Small Wave Plus channel. So I can't technically show you these slides because they're from a leak that is part of a criminal investigation with the ransomware group breaking in, taking over 1.5 terabytes of data, which includes Wolverine itself, and just dropping it online after their ransom was not met. But it's hard to ignore all of the information getting out there because it is quite substantial. But I did want to really take a look here at some of the PlayStation Plus information that was being discussed behind the scenes. Some of these slides are dated 2021 and 2022. If you do the math, this is around the time I'm sure that plans were really in place to build up and launch the revamp of PlayStation Plus with Essential, Extra, and Premium, and then consider how you grow it beyond that, right? Because they knew that they were going to lose like the raw numbers of subscribers. Not everyone's going to go up to Extra, not everyone's going to go up to Premium, and some maybe just outright cancel because, remember, they also raised the price of Essential to $80. But turns out they're making more money from it because, yeah, they have more expensive tiers. So it all kind of evened out, and in fact, they ended up in the positive overall. But they do get to a point where they start to kind of stagnate a little bit with their overall signups or subscriptions, which means they have to start looking outside of the PlayStation console, be less hardware first, which is interesting for Sony. Now, I will say this. We've kind of had this before. If you're a PlayStation Now member back in the day, years ago now, you'll remember you were able to stream games on your computer. You would have to sync up you'd sync up your PS4 controller. The experience wasn't very good. That was after they had picked up Gaikai, and it seemed like the idea was, let's use Gaikai to expand our PlayStation Now service. It didn't work. They ended up revamping it. Obviously, now we have PlayStation Plus Premium that has a streaming component to it for games. It's locked down completely to the PlayStation 5 at this time. The experience is very good, though. I will at least give them credit there. It's, I'd say, on the level of Stadia in terms of visual quality and overall input latency. It's like you could fire up a game immediately and at least get a feel for it, get an idea as to if you would like the game, and then decide, okay, now I'm going to download 100 gigabytes and get that done, right? So for utility, if you consider it that way, a convenience factor for your subscription that you're already a part of, it's actually a pretty good idea, and it works well for that. I don't know if I'm there yet when it comes to replacing an entire console, a native experience with cloud gaming, but I think that also comes down to my experiences with Comcast, as that is the only internet service provider I have. So speed, reliability, that has a ways to go before I'm like, all right, there we are. Cloud gaming is the future. But in these slides, they do discuss the idea of growing PlayStation Plus, Essential, Extra, and Premium in a number of different ways. The biggest one is, let's just offer it outside of the PlayStation 5. They mention putting it on TVs. So obviously, their Bravia TV, which I believe with PlayStation Now, I think they had that available on Blu-ray players from Sony. You could just technically play it on there. But having it even on a Fire TV stick, which is very popular through Amazon. You take it, you plug it into a TV, and you have access to all kinds of different streaming services for videos and movies. But having an application on there, and I guess being able to then sync up a PlayStation controller to it, and you don't need a console, is one less barrier of entry for people to just be able to basically hurdle right over. You don't need the $450 or $500 system to play these games. And while, again, the cloud cloud gaming. It's not obviously as good as what we have for a native experience. There are going to be some people in the mainstream who are like, it's good enough. That's kind of it, right? So, but outside of that, they do discuss the idea of tablets, phones, iOS, Android, that sort of thing. Again, not too surprising considering you could do remote play, but this seems to work into the idea of game streaming from their servers, like what we have right now on the PS5 with PlayStation Plus Premium, the thing they launched very recently, as in you don't need a console. It streams from their servers. So this is an interesting scenario for Sony because it does offer the idea of getting their first-party games without needing to buy the box that comes with it that locks you into the ecosystem more or less. And in their mind, that's worth the takeaway would be you don't need the box, but it's worth it because we can then get you in some capacity, raise our numbers for this subscription service that would then be basically guaranteed revenue every month, every single year. Now, the other part of this, outside of just mobile and streaming games, even on Windows or Mac OS, which for them, that would be big. Not necessarily for, I don't know, it'd be tough to get it on Windows, a default application that just comes with the OS. But be able to get it on Mac, I think that'd be pretty big for them there, at least, to offer that as a way to just stream games right out of the box on your iPad, your iMac, your MacBook, what have you. But PlayStation Plus on PC. This is brought up here separate from game streaming, okay? And that I think that's a big deal. They would have, I believe, the potential for having their own launcher and having PlayStation Plus tied into that. Now, I say their own launcher because people are saying just put it on Steam. That's it. And they could continue to do that, right? But they would also be giving 30% then to Valve. And I feel like if they tie it in with their own launcher, they'd probably be able to do all the things that boost engagement when it comes to trophies, which is obviously a big deal. They have their PlayStation Stars thing that needs work. Maybe they'll get there eventually. But all kinds of stuff that they would tie into that with game streaming and stuff and try to get people on their own launcher so they don't have to pay the 30%. But the other part is Microsoft had serious considerations buying Valve, buying Steam, which, I mean, think about that. Then Sony might be kind of stuck like, okay, hold on a minute. We relied on Call of Duty for so long, and now Microsoft owns that property, which now means that they are benefiting from all these copies of Call of Duty that we're selling and also bundling in with our system. What happens if we build up this massive corner of Steam that's all PlayStation stuff, and then one day we wake up and Microsoft have moved to acquire Steam? That has to be on the radar if I'm thinking of it. So in that sense, I wouldn't be shocked if they work to create their own launcher, as we have seen job listings and other things seemingly pointing to that on PC, and then also to tie in a reason to have PlayStation Plus, which is you sign up for it here, you get the game streaming stuff, you get all the discounts, you get, I'm sure, the trophies, you get the free games, quote-unquote free games, and then the game catalog that comes with that as part of your launcher, which, oh yeah, also, you sign up for PlayStation Plus here, you have it over on the PlayStation 5, which, let's be real, they'd probably work to raise the price of premium once again as a console plus PC kind of a service. I just find it very interesting that Sony seems to be getting in a position where they feel the need to look outside of just the PlayStation 5 console, despite it most likely topping 100 million sold again this generation, just based on the pace they're on currently. They're looking for more people to sell their games to sign up to their services for, because their games are getting incredibly expensive. Just budgets in general across the industry continue to climb, and recently, just in the last 4 or 5 years, they have absolutely ballooned. And that's something we'll go over in another video, because it really does affect everything about this industry, just how much these games cost to make and the expectations that continue to push those costs up. It makes me wonder about an eventual breaking point, but like I said, we'll go over that in a future video. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below, with PlayStation Plus seemingly being planned out with Essential, Extra, and Premium tiers as being available outside of the PS5 console, with game streaming, maybe even a whole launcher on PC. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.